Welcome back. Now, this is very interesting. We have had discussions on initiatives that favor the youth in terms of business, and now we are about to talk about the state of our nation, and that is on newspaper review. And this morning in studio, I am joined by Ojwang Mariam and Collins Mawira, who is a youth leader in youth chair in Meru County. Thank you so much for making time for us this morning. So good to have you gentlemen on board this morning. I'll begin with Ojwang. How are you feeling this morning?
Medical fiti. I'm grateful to God. I'm grateful to the team for this opportunity. We're moving on swiftly, napenda sana. As KUTV Rise today, we've been able to bag 2 nominations in the KUSA Awards 2025. It will happen on 14th. That 14th, hata art and culture isiposhinda, kuna biashara Tuesday ya kushinda. Ikishindikana Sunday unarushia watu wa news. It means we are doing a good job. KUTV Rise today having 2 shows on the same platform competing for excellence and greatness. It means tunafanya kazi mzuri and I'm proud to be part of that. Thank you so much our fans. Nyinyi ndio mnatuwekaga hapa hivi. Our producer Ryan Gure kila time nikijua kuhost, nikijifunza kuhost alikuwa ananiambia hata kama ni mtu mmoja unaongelesha, that person matters. We've moved from talking to one person to winning awards to where we are today to creating a family ya KUTV Rise today. So I'm glad to be part of the team. I'm glad to be here leo asubuhi na kucelebrate kina mama. Magnificent duo.
Very interesting. We are in the celebration mode of women, and seeing this is very interesting. Now, Collins, how are you feeling this morning? Are you happy with the state of our nation?
Okay, about the state of the nation, I'm a 50-50, depending on what the government is doing. They are doing some things right, they are doing others wrong. But at the end of the day, we survive as Kenyans because we can't go always in the streets. But otherwise, I'm good. I'm happy at least at the rent. I'm happy to be in KUTV. It's long since I was here. I feel happy. Biashara Tuesday. I'm an economic and statistician, so I feel nice. Thank you.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
Welcome back. Now let's get into what brought us this morning and what is keeping our viewers on screen this morning. Now, we begin with the Business Daily. RBA to block under 50s from pension savings, that is Retirement Benefits Authority, is pushing to stop workers from accessing their pension savings before attaining age 50 through proposed changes that are aimed at helping contributors build a decent retirement nest egg. This is something that, let us begin this on this note. Have you ever got into an office and then you find someone who is very old and then very rude, and then you're like, see you go for retirement. Why are you angry for no reason? Why are you angry for no reason? And I came to realize that most of these people don't go for retirement when the right age comes, because their retirement benefit is so thin that haiwezi hata tosha kununua dawa zake, because at that age akona pressure, akona diabetes, so kuna dawa, kuna food, haitoshi hata kulipa any of that. Most of them stay in employment past the retirement age until to the point where they're no longer productive. So this is something that, for me, I think it's a good move. Let me begin with you, Collins.
Yes.
How do you feel about this proposal?
Okay, the proposal about kunyima watu pesa, it's hard sometimes. Unapatanga at the end of the day, Kenya kuretire nika utaretire tu ukikufa. The government will try just to limit you in every way just to work. So it happens, if you are in employment, at least save for yourself, just invest somewhere, because at the end of the day, when you say that the government will bring these the funds to you at the end of retirement, they will just pressure you. They will just keep pressuring you, so that maybe you go back to work, or you just retire na wewe ndo potele. But in Kenya as well, they try to limit the youths in work. So you find like wasn't your bado tu ana work. So the pension, just limiting them, it might be a way of telling people just retire. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Ojwang, what do you feel about this proposal?
In developed countries, retirement shouldn't really or isn't really about age. Unaweza retire ukiwa 20. Na useme from now on, mimi nimeretire, maybe from public service, I want to live a private life. You can retire hadi ukiwa 30. Si lazima uzeeke ndio retire. Kuretire is an issue of nataka sasa ni relax, I've done my part, imetosheka. Do you know if today you are lucky enough to be a president of this country at the age you are in as a Gen Z, you go for 2 terms, we'll demand you to retire. Hata kama by the time unafika 35 ndo wewe kijana ndo unatoka in your 2 terms, you'll still go home. What they are doing kusema lazima mtu afikishe past 50 ndo apate pesa zake za retirement ni wizi. Juu mimi nikisave, si save ndio wewe, mimi nikupee pesa zangu, si kila mtu ukatwa hiyo pesa ukatwa, zinakatwa kwa NSSF, zinaenda so that pension yako ikue. Si kati ndio wewe udecide the right time for mimi kulipwa. Ni at any given point mimi nimesema nimeretire guys, I'm done, mwanze kuniekea pension yangu. What if ni retire at 35, mkose kunipea pesa zangu, mnangojea nifike 50, I die at 45? That is bad business. Kama hawawezi kukupea pesa zako za retirement time yenye unahitaji hizo za RBA, then there is no need wewe kuweka pesa NSSF. Weka pesa kwa bank ama kwa sako, mahali ukimaliza retire unawaambia haya, si nimekuwa nikiwapea pesa zangu, nipatieni. Hiyo ni scam ya wizi. Tunafaa as a country to grow, tutoke from one level ya kufikiria kama hiyo ya venye tutanyanyasa wazee ama venye tunangojea watu wazeeke ndio wanyanyaswe. The reason they are doing that ni juu wanajua hata pesa za inua jamii hazifikiagi hao wazee. So wanangoja uzeeke kabisa ndo hadi ushindwe kufuatiliwa. The more unazeeka, the more una energy ya kufuatilia. But mbona tuibie wa Kenya? Si mtu apewe pesa zake time yenye amedecide kuretire. What guarantees me that nita retire at 70? What if I want to retire at 40? Pesa zangu ni ngoje kwa nini? Na ni zangu, si za mtu. RBS hazikuwagi pesa za serikali. It's not the same as pesa za inua jamii for the elderly, PWD and women. No, ni share ya pesa zako. Pewa time unahitaji, si time wao wanataka kukupea.
So to you, anyways, it's just a form of
wizi.
So what of this situation? What of this situation where you're now old, ulisema mimi na retire at 40. You know at 40 you can still work. But now you are at 60, you can't work, you don't have your pension, ulishamaliza. What happens to such situations?
Okay. Pension umesema pension ulimaliza? Si pension yako ushapewa, hiyo ndio haki yako. Whatever happens to you after that shouldn't be a government concern.
It should be, because remember you're becoming a burden to the government in one way or another, because it's either you're depending on someone, and that is increasing black tax, which is not having any economical value.
Hiyo shida yake ni hii. The solution, hiyo shida solution yake ni sisi vijana. We can't help hao wazee walishaenda, maybe mtu aliskwanda pesa zake zote. Saizi hatuwezi wasaidia. Ndio maana unajipata tuko kwa black tax. Na hii black tax, we the millennials are the last people wenye wanajua mambo ya black tax. Gen Z kushuka chini wanasema hapana, kila mtu except wenye walizaliwa akiwa mapacha anafaa ajishughulikie. So wewe ukiwa kijana, unafaa unapanga maisha yako vizuri. Unafaa kuelewa that one day one time utazeeka. Plan your future today so that when you go for retire, you don't necessarily depend on your pension, your RBA or Retirement Beneficiary Authority. You use your investments. Watu kama mwenye aliweza kuaga mzee Kibor, aliwahi kuwa the chair wa men's conference. Hadi wa leo mali yake bado inapiganiwa na watoto wake more than 25 na bibi wake watatu wazee na mmoja mwenye ni kijana, as in a youth.
Wazee partner.
Yes, but bado tunaongelelea hapa kuhusu mzee mwingine mwenye amekuwa old and frail. First things first, old and frail and you're not able to work. Ukiwa 30 na umeshindwa kuwork, maybe you are incapacitated, unafaa unaondoka, mwingine afanye kazi, ndio hii kazi ifanyike. Why should we sacrifice wewe uendelee kukaa hapo una laze around, kazi ifanyiki, systems zinaanguka, yetu unaweza enda utulie mwingine apate job. So wewe unafaa uondoke kwanza, wengine wafanye kazi. Kama ni kujipanga, hujajipanga na umepewa pension yako, now deal with your family from there on. Because you can't deal with the government. How will you deal with the government yenye the head of state saizi hata ana concentrate na makanisa? Kasi kanisa uko nayo saizi hataki kusikia stories zako. Nani mwingine atapea shida zake? Is it inua jamii? Inua jamii inafaa impee pesa. It's 3k per month. Itamsaidia wapi mzee amezoea pesa mingi sana? Tujipange ndio hata sisi tukifika kuwa wazee hatutalilia watoto wetu na watoto wa watoto wetu, tusaidieni tuliwazaa.
Okay. That is very well put. Watu wajipange, tusitegemee RBA. Now on to another story on taxation. Taxes from beer, fuel, car, cosmetic sales flat in a half a year. Now this is according to a report released by the Treasury that easy industries are pombe na urembo and the car business, their taxes have maintained, hazijapanda, hazijashuka, meaning they've maintained their sales despite having COVID-19, despite watu kulia sana. The economy is tough. This is the report says that Kenya Revenue Authority collected 141.35 billion Kenyan shillings from excess duty in the review period, a paltry 1.11% rise over 139.8 billion in the prior year. So do you think this is yes for people doing that business, like watu tuanze kuelekeza biashara zetu huko, because kuna watu wanahama Kenya right now saying the taxation is high and the businesses are closing, but at the same time there are others which are thriving. Collins.
Okay, we can't flock over everyone kwa business za pombe, cosmetology na gari business. So unapatanga what we can just do ni just be broad. Juu pombe nayo watu watapiga sherehe, cosmetology watu watapaka makeup, magari watu watanunua. But it comes to a point whereby unapata watu wana concentrate more much on luxury. Wanasahau pia hizi vitu zingine zina happen. Juu mtu kama tuseme for example in Githurai, mtu anauza mahindi and stuff, they are so much concentrated on that business and they earn a living there. Lakini ukipata hii ingine taxation about the alcohol, these are luxury things. So I think inafaa ku maintain, but still Wakenya tunapenda sherehe. So at the end of the day sherehe hutoi limit. Hata wakipandisha aje, at the end of the day tutapiga sherehe. So it's upon us, we Kenyans, we just concentrate on just balancing the economy. Na hiyo government isi concentrate sana na overtaxation. Juu unapata like unatax hata mtu mwenye yuko kwa business yenye ina make do. For example unapata mtu ameweka kibanda lakini wewe kanju unaenda kumfungia eti ndiye alipe tax. Lakini mtu akona pombe anakuja na kuhonga lakini wewe uone hiyo. So it's upon us tujaribu as a government ijaribu kutuhold mkono na tujaribu kunini. Si lazima ikuwe tax ikuwe raised. It can just maintain, but we just balance everything.
Yeah. Very interesting. We can maintain the taxes, si lazima waongeze. We can have good businesses with the standardized taxes. What do you think about the same, John?
There is nothing wrong with the taxes kukua flat. In fact, zinafaa zishuke. Zikishuka, business people wanakuwa encouraged kuingia into that business. Because at the end of the day, people want to do business where the conditions and the environment is favorable to them. But tunafaa tuangalie what is not written kwa business daily. Narratives. Gava always huandika hizi vitu for narratives, kusukuma narrative, kutest waters. Sahi CS John Mbadi mwenye anaongelea kuhusu hizo taxes, the rate kukua flat, ni juu deep down kuna mahali anataka aongeze. Umeshika? He is from the same office yenye ilisema juzi that Kenya is not able to fund na ama inalemewa kufund university education. Hiyo inamaanisha aje? As anapanga finance bill 2025, anapanga kupunguza capitation ya university, anapanga kuongeza stick-ons, anapanga kuongeza lipstick, wanaume mtaumia, anapanga kuongeza mafuta ya gari. Tough times for you girls. Kupelekwa date itakuwa ngumu sana, because kupelekwa date tunahitaji kwanza tuwashughulikie cosmetics. Hizo ni pesa. Wanaongeza tax. Wakiongeza tax, hizi bidhaa zitaongezeka bei. Kama niko na gari, nahitaji kuweka hii gari mafuta ndo nikutoe from point A, which is mostly Roysambu, Mirema, to point B, which is tujui ni gani, yenye huko nako tukifika pombe itaongezewa nini. So they are being strategic, because hawataongeza sana mambo ya wheat, mambo ya maziwa, mambo ya sukari, of which hadi leo bado ukiendelea hapo hivyo kusoma utasikia sukari imepanda na ngovo. Ngovo ni pesa mingi sana. So ni plan tu za kujua ni nini tutaongeza, ni nini kinaujua wanasema kule kwa newspaper review ndo tupunguze hiyo ama tufanye hii ingine. They are testing waters with us.
Now still on the same, still on business mood. This is the Standard. The Standard on page 29, it says how Trump's tariffs wars might hurt Kenyan shilling and trade. And on the report by Business Daily, it says that annual remittance from US in 2014, which averaged at 26 million every month. So at the moment, the remittances in the country is expected to be affected. I had a figure here, but apparently I've lost it. Data shows that in January 2025, more than 30 billion shillings was sent back home. But with the new tariffs and the executive orders that are being signed, we understand that most foreigners who are in the States are working in agricultural fields or farms. Most of them are others are in business. And right now, with the executive orders signed, most of them don't go to work. Most of them hide because they don't want to be noticed or deported home. So this is it is something that we're expecting it to affect our country, and remittances in our country is among the contributors to our GDP. So in your opinion, Collins, how do you think the tariff wars is hurting or might hurt the Kenyan shilling and trade?
Okay. Yeah, I think when it comes to about worldwide economics and business, sometimes it's a matter of geopolitics. Okay, a country does what benefits its people most. So Trump, whatever Trump did maybe to cut the aid to African countries, it's upon us, we African countries now, we just be prudent, just be self-dependent. Because wezi niambia, Kenya hii tax tunaokota, haiwezi fanya vitu mingi sana kwa hii country. So cutting off these, all the remittances and stuff, is just a waking up call. You guys, just wake up. Just use your money well. Juu ukienda kwa geopolitics, tuseme for example is about importation and exportation. As Kenyans, we should start exporting more. Juu Kenya nayo tuna import vitu mingi, si sukari, si nini. Ukiingililia ka kampani ya sugar, inatumua vibaya just for benefiting. So it's upon us, we sit down as government, our government sits down, na ijaribu kuficha hizi loopholes. At the end of the day, I believe we might be benefiting in these aids, but at the end of the day, wezi niambia ati hatuna hiyo pesa ya kujisupport. Okay, unaangalianga, unapata like, let me give an example. In refugees and maybe these HIV donation and stuff. Wezi niambia hatuna hizo pesa za kununua hizo vitu. Wezi niambia Kenya tumefika mahali like our GDP is so dependent on easy funds, lakini haiko dependent on our taxes. Na taxes tunalipa daily. So it's upon us, tukae chini, tujipange kwa businesses. Maybe in Kenya, Kenyans are very hardworking. In Congo has many resources. Zenye hata hazitumikangi tu zina exportiwa kwenda huko majuu as raw materials. Wanarudi kuuziwa kama zikuwa refined zote. So, wacha tu tujitume. At the end of the day, hiyo ndio itatusaidia. Yeah.
And this is something that is really going to affect our GDP because, not our GDP, our GDP. Because at the moment as we speak, our spending is 70% more than what we collect. So it is something that is interesting to look at. Ojuang, from where you sit, how do you think these policies are going to affect us as a country?
Two things. I think tumeogopa sana the Trump statement on anatoa fundings to African countries. The two things, kitu cha kwanza, Mbadi's math doesn't add up. Kolo amesema tuko na pesa, it's a wake up call, sisi tujipange so that mwenye ako hapo treasury ajue now that US wamecut funding hapa hivi, with the resources tuko nazo, tukigawa hapa kwa health, tugawe hapa kwa education, tugawe hapa kwa Ministry of Youth and Sports, tutabaki na nini? Resources tuko nazo, but yeye hesabu zake haziwezi add up juu anataka angalie tu vile tutafinya hawa Kenya aje without them feeling like sisi ndio tunawafinya. Let's blame it on President Trump from US, mwenye hata yeye kwenye yako anapanga nchi yake. But again, there is hope. If US is our god, gava imefanya US kuwa our god, after 90 days, I'm giving you this prediction. It's not a must Trump atoke. Juu hata akitoka, US is not the only country that can fund us. On page 19 ya Financial Standard, mtu akipata chance asome the standard, Financial Standard iko na mingi sana. China Africa pledge amid the West aid stance. Inasema kwamba Chinese wanatuambia ni ajeni Kenya, you will never walk alone. China assures Africa as the West retreats. The West tunaongelea US kutoka. By the time wanatoka 90 days waseme sisi tumetoka. Tunaenda kwa wengine kama lazima tusaidiwe by kupewa. But tukienda kwa hao wengine kusaidiwa kupewa, tukue tumelana lesson within these 90 days zenye zimepitia hapo hivyo. That Kenyans wamekuwa at standstill. Yet we are a sovereign country. Yet we are a republic. Pesa zetu tunafaa tunajisaidia sisi wenyewe. But US wakienda policies zao azimati sana, we can shift to other places na tuangalie venye hizo bilateral ties zitatusaidia.
And talking of China, China's really embraced self-sufficiency. Right now they are fueling their funds to the tech industry because they say that after the US increased the tariffs in the country, they're now focusing on building themselves as an individual country.
Kenya
and
should do the same.
Yeah, it's a very good fight. Yes, Collins?
There's one thing that affects Kenyans most, especially when it comes to these finances and the financial years. Hakuna venye utaniambia mmetengeneza budget iko more than what you collect taxes. This will make you you go borrow. Now the moment una increase madeni, Kenyans it has that luxury whereby tutalipa. Maybe this president, that president atakuja alipe. But it is affecting our GDP. The moment Trump amekata hii, it's there time John Bandi a change the budgeting, it just averages what Kenyans collect as taxes. That will just help us balance the GDP. Juu Kenyans, whatever we do, we are an agriculturalist countries. We don't have resources na ni kujituma ya watu. So so dependent on this, the West or the East, they will just manipulate us. And that what happens. Wezi niambia China ati wakikuja Kenya, watakuja for free. Ama watawapea pesa for free. Yeah, it will never happen. So it's upon us. The more tunajituma, I think the government takes advantage of us. Juu wezi niambia budget ni iko 4 billion ama 4 trillion alafu mnaokota tax ya 2 trillion. It never happens that way. The income must balance. Whatever you earn, you must save, and consumption must be still in that income. Hakuna venye utaniambia consumption itakuwa more than income, and that what happens. And it will continue killing us. Juu hata investments government inafanya vitu unnecessary that cannot build us. China is concentrating on the tech. In Kenya, technology, unatengeneza gari maybe inaweza kuwa worth, unaambiwa kuna kitu unafanya, unapewa kitu kidogo, unakanyagia. So that was affecting us. But at the end of the day, hope, as we rise at the end of the day, we'll come up with an idea where we elect leaders who will help us maneuver in this economy.
And I strongly believe that our leaders are the problem because Kenyans are very hardworking, if you ask me. If ukienda anywhere, utapata tu njoroge. Uende China, utapata njoroge. Anywhere you go, you'll find a Kenyan who is really making it out there. And that is just to show you that as Kenyans, we are very hardworking and we need the government to abolish or to do away with budgeted corruption, to do away with unnecessary spendings. That will help us. Now moving on, still on that Daily Nation, we have civil servants want rejected share deal. Now this is another story on budgeted corruption. Civil servants have warned of a strike beginning March 18th if the government fails to address their grievances on the new medical scheme run by Social Health Authority, saying they are being forced to fundraise to meet their medical needs because the state-run scheme is not working. And I have said this more than once. There's a time I was at Kenyatta University Teaching and Referral Hospital. Yes, and I was told that, you know, your cover cannot work. We can only pay for the radiography services, that is a CT scan, ultrasound. That's the only thing that it can pay for, and a bed. But for outpatients, it's not working. For other things, it's not working. You need to get the money from your pocket. Unless you're a civil servant under permanent and pensionable terms with the government, that is when it can work, but it will not cater for everything. So the civil servants at the moment, they have been rejecting, and now they are saying that musipofanya something about it, tunaenda kwa streets. Yes, March 18th.
So now, the civil servants wanasema March 18th ndio wao wana march.
March 18th ndio wana march to the streets. Now, Collins, this is something that we have been saying. SHA is not working. Salasi anasema, President, acha mimi nikwambie. SHA work, SHA ifanyi kazi. President anasema sasa acha mimi nikwambie. SHA itafanya kazi. What do you think about this push and pull between the civil servants and the government?
Okay, hata wakienda streets, what will change? I believe in Kenya, the probability of something changing, as long as we have such kind of a government, it's hard. I remember, I was young, wakati wa Kibaki, dispensaries zilikuwa zina work, na ulikuwa unapewa dawa free. Sasa hii, what has changed, hiyo pesa yenye tulikuwa tunapewa dawa free kwa dispensaries na kwenda hospitali, nini nimechange, nini? Like, nini ime withdrawiwa, ndio, ipote. Taxes zimebaki the same, bado zina increase, but ukipata SHA watu wanaambiwa watoe pesa na hakuna kitu ina work. It's just a scam yenye imetengenezwa, maybe NHIF never worked, hii nyingine imeletwa. But I believe the government, mbona msirudishe ile system yenye kulikuwa na dispensaries na ukienda hospitali unalipa tu ya kadi. I think it will work better. Juu hii pesa mnaitisha watu at the end of the day. Hata mtu anaweza jisevia na aende hospitali. Hii pesa mnasemanga mnaongeza mtu. Hiyo ni pesa mngeweka dawa kwa hospitali. Unaangalia unaenda hospitali watu wanashare vitanda. So, hii pesa mnapata, but hata kutengeneza kitanda ni shida. It doesn't make sense either way. So, for civil servants na government, itabaki kuwa just push and pull. And until the end of the day, we civil servants, hata ukifika kwa election, utakuja mtu maybe leader wenyu anunuliwe kiasi, and hiyo pesa ipotele. So, I think it's their time at least, hata ukiweza kuboycott SHA, juu kama mimi siko SHA, juu hainisaidii. Hata nikigonjeka at the end of the day, sometimes unasemanga God for us all. Juu sometimes utafeed msee, umfeed na hii pesa yako, ukifika hospitali unaambiwa wewe sijui SHA yako imekaa aje, sijui shisho. Vitu kaa hizo. So it's upon us Kenyans. You just look for other plans. We can't all be dependent on the government.
John, Collins anasema it's high time we look for a way to boycott SHA. What do you think?
Ukweli. First of all, tunafaa to sue NHIF. Kwa sababu gani? Unasikia vile yeye anasema hayuko concerned na SHA or anything like that. I'm in the same place. Siko concerned na SHA. Time watu walikuwa wanaambiwa go register for SHA, mimi niliwaambia SHA. I even called my friends na hata wao wanasema hatutaki SHA. But even today I get messages from Social Health Authority asking me to remit my share of funds. Why? And I'm in a democratic country whereby I can do what I want. See, health ni yangu hii tunaongelelea. Ama nafanya kazi ndio nichange wewe uende hosi. It's not the same as housing levy yenye nachanga ndio wewe ujengewe nyumba. SHA inafaa inisaidie mimi. Na kama haiwezi nisaidia, itanisaidia tu picha. Haitanisaidia mahali vile nitapata matibabu kwa hospitali. I can as well niachane nayo, niingie Jubilee, niingie UAP, niingie Equity Afya. Juu najua hapo hivyo nitasaidika. It's about me. Health cover is about me and my children. Utapata most of haina spouse pale. Kama wewe mtoto ukifika 18 years unaambia haya, toka sasa kwa miguu ya baba, chukua yako. But the government wao wanataka wewe uendelee kuninisha. Tunafaa sote tukatae. Kama hautaki utaki. If you are a civil servant and SHA is not helping you and you're saying you'll march on 18th, tokea. Kata. My friend anaongea kuhusu we will change nothing. But I think we've changed a lot since when people got woke enough to realize that on streets you can be listened. Finance Bill 2024, it's not there. A parliament, a whole cabinet went home because of people going to the streets. Juzi, we have 10 people who are injured huko Roysambu because watu wako kwa streets. If hatuwezi saidika kwa streets, na hatuwezi saidika kwa bunge, hatuwezi saidika kwa judiciary, because even the chief justice saizi analia hana justice, yeye mwenyewe anataka kungolewa. Where else as a country will we get help? Because it's not in the US. Wao hata wanatutolea usaidizi. It's not in Russia. Wao wako na ngori zao huko na zingine zenye wanataka kudeal nazo huko Burkina Faso. It's us. Ikifika mahali mimi sisaidiki, I can only get that help through the streets. Sometimes I think this government inaelewa maandamano sana kuliko the policy. That's why wanashika baba, wanamweka mfuko. Saizi wanafanya tour Nairobi. Wanafanya hiyo tour Nairobi when some constituencies don't have any projects. I have the PDF of the tour ya Nairobi. Wafanye cheap PR in Roysambu. President Ruto atapitia ati atasimama utalii ndo aingie Mathare ya Hepe. Hawezi ingia Roysambu tena. Ukiangalia on the projects zenye wata launch in Roysambu hakuna. In other constituencies zenye hao MPs hawako in line na president hakuna. Sisi ndio tunaumia. Sio huyo mbunge mwenye amekataa kufuata Ruto. Sisi watu wa Roysambu ndio tunaumia. So tutafanya aje ndio tusaidike? Si ni streets tutaenda kama itajika tuende streets.
It's quite unfortunate because our leaders at the moment, you know, what is affecting us is not affecting them. Let's talk about education funding. Their kids go to international schools and study abroad. Let's talk about health. They don't use SHA. They have other private insurance funds that they're having. Let's talk about transport. These guys are not affected with fuel prices and everything because they have fuel pass by the government. Let's talk about the cost of living. Every meeting they're having is budgeted. They have allowances. They have pesa ya maziwa mamilioni in the offices. They have house allowances. They have travel allowances. They have all these allowances. So when you're saying that tunateseka as a country, this is something that to them they are not understanding. Wanashanga, what are you guys saying? What are you guys saying? And
how leaders. Shida ya hii nchi ni sisi. A leader or a representative, a leader is a representative of the people that elected them. Sisi ndio tunaweka hawa viongozi kwa hizi positions za uongozi. Sisi ndio tuko na power ya kuwatoa. Sisi wenyewe. As wanapeleka watoto wao huko nje kusoma. Sisi tulikuwa wapi? Tunafaa tunachagua mtu, unajua chagua huyu unajua atakusaidia. Asipo kukusaidia mtoe, si lazima ungoje 5 years. We have provisions za kutoa mtu kwa ofisi, junior ofisi. The same way leo KU anaweza kuambia we've terminated your contract. It's the same way you can tell your MP we have terminated your contract. And you seek help by recalling through the IEBC. Shida ni sisi. Tuache kulia wamepeleka watoto wao wapi. It's good. Kwani wewe huwezi furahia mtoto wako akipelekwa shule ya nje? But if you're doing that using my money, then shida ni mimi.
Okay, very interesting. Now let's get a very short comment from Collins.
Alafu another thing, in Kenyan politics they use manipulation 101. Utapata best yako mlikuwa na yeye kidogo amekoa zinaitangwa za cabbage. Amekoa za cabbage ameanza kuruka. Okay, anasema hata lala njaa. But what I believe at the end of the day in Kenya, the moment the people wameshikana, it will be more effective than the government itself ikishikana na watu. This manipulation was working in Moi era. Ndio ulikuwa unapata Moi alafu walikuwa na social media. Lakini currently tuko na social media, unaweza tengeneza hata pseudo account na ulime government venye unataka. So it's upon us tushikane na tujue what we can change as leaders. Ndio pia hapa in campus politics pia unapatanga even the students who are said they are smart, they are being manipulated. So it's upon us, not it be in student governing councils or the national politics. If you want to change something, just be bold, stand with your decision, be truthful, be honest, and avoid this manipulation. Utapigwa, utafanyiwa everything, but at the end of the day, they will come to see sense in you. Hiyo ndio tatusaidia tu hapa Kenya. Tukisema at the end of the day 2027 iko karibu. Hizi politics za kuzunguka zimeanza. We have seen the game. I see ati ni kitu mpya. Hii mambo ya Laila kufanya handshake and stuff si kitu mpya. But at the end of the day usiletewe 200 2027 and you just see the person as a saint. No. Just stand with your decision. If you want to change this country, stand with your decision. Just that.
Okay, and also don't be manipulated by religion. Now let's shift to the biggest headline. We have this one. I will give each of you at most 2 minutes. We are having the magnificent duo finally standard having a positive headline, and I'll just read a quick back and forth between leaders who are supporting the duo. That is Auditor General Nancy Gishungu and Control of Budget Margaret Nyakongo, who have remained unwavering public watchdogs. Now, Richard Onyonka says, these two women are my heroes. They're the last line of defense in this country. If you look at the issues they are raising, no man can deal with them. And as he says that, Kimani Chungwa says, the Office of Control of Budget needs to style up. County governments are suffering. Speak to any governor. They will tell you they have to bribe officers in that office to get their expenditures approved. And Edwin Sifuna says, Madam Gashungu, Gadungu, you are now the person standing on guard for the resources of this country. We who are believers in transparency and proper utilization of funds in this country are with you. And then Junet says, watu wa kupewa cabbage, to every approval you must part with something. Governors are saying it everywhere, that for us to get approval from the COB, Control of Budget, that is office, we must give some money. And then the push and pull goes on, and they say that for this audit report to be approved, it has to be approved by the parliament, the same parliament that is accused of corruption. So let's begin with you, Collins.
Yes.
What do you think about this magnificent duo and their impact and what they're doing currently in the country?
I think these are the two sober minds we have in the country as long as finances are concerned. Jukipata, the strength of a woman. These ladies are bold enough. So I think for these leaders just criticizing them, mtu anaendanga penye anashiba. So ukipata like Kimani Ichung'wah anajaribu kujiprotect side yenye yako. And the others, the likes of Sifuna, at least Sifuna has been always sober, criticizing the government and saying the truth. So for these ladies, I believe they can continue the same work. It's upon us now, we Kenyans, we support them. For example, this EU bid, they used, I think, over 584 million. Hiyo pesa yote ni ya nini surely? I think someone, when you are vying, it shouldn't come from the treasury. But ukienda parliament, some approvals and some budget things are just nonsense. So it's upon us as Kenyans, these ladies, we just support them. We just give them the hand of support. In Kenya sahi, at least kumeacha hizo extrajudicial killings. I'm sure ungekuwa ni sometimes back hapo ungekuwa washapotea ama washatolewa kwa government. If you don't support the idea of the government to become as bad as the fellow Kenyans who are complaining about it.
You become the enemy of the government.
You become the enemy. And now, I think now it's the time we just say the enemy of my enemy is my friend. These people are the enemy of the government because they are saying the truth. And we are the enemy of the government because we are criticizing it. Now I think we should join hands together and just force the issue to happen. We can go on the streets, but these streets, if this government hears with us going on the streets, we can go there. But at the end of the day, si tuamke tena, we just elect the same leaders. Juu amekuja sasa wakaanza kusell another ideology. Juu mara 2022 ilikuwa hustler. But hiyo hustler haiku work out. Juu sahi if ni hustler, sahi pesa mfukoni hatuna. Hata eri wenye mwenye wameshika. Sahi wameshikana wote kulikuwa na 6,000. Maybe they can come with an idea where we can get the 6,000 as Kenyans. At least itakuwa budget 34 na itapelekwa huko ishughulikiwe.
Very interesting. As enemies we should unite. Now Ojwang, what do you think about this magnificent duo?
Nimesikia Collins akisema 6k ikuje now that baba ako kwa serikali chungwa limetoshea kwa wheelbarrow. But kwa NADCO report 10 key factors, uliona mahali wakiongelelea vijana vile watapata 6,000?
Nothing.
That is a tall order. Kitu cha kwanza, congratulations to Auditor General Nancy Gathongo and controller of budget, Margaret Nyakano. You women are doing a great job. I have seen people like Faith Odhiambo from the LSK president, doing a good job. I am praying so hard that our Chief Justice mwenye bado ni mwanadada asimame kidete kama hawa wawili. These two are easy to remove than the CJ. The CJ hana kitu cha kuogopa. Yeye ni president wa the whole arm of a government. Why is she so afraid to a point that she's crying because of injustice badala ya tusaidie kupata justice? Hawa wabunge ambao wanapiga Margaret Nyakano na Nancy Gathongo, wote ni wenye wanahepa accountability and responsibilities zao. For example, if you are a governor na unasema ukitaka budget yako ikuwe approved na COB Margaret Nyakano, unaitishwa bribes. Ni governor yupi akona kesi kotini akiwa amepeleka Margaret Nyakano juu ya corruption? EACC iko hapo juu ya kunini vitu kama hizi. The leader of majority saa hii Kimani Ichung'wah ni wa kwanza kulia that counties zina paralyze juu COB ha approve budgets. Akikosa ku approve budgets anafaa aseme kwa nini haja approve budgets. If we una believe COB ha approve budgets kwa sababu ya kitu ambacho tunaita corruption, anataka bribes, you report to EACC. Ukishindwa na kureport to EACC, nearest police station wanakuambia kila wakati ripoti ufisadi. Tungekuwa na cases mingi sana, but haziko. Hawa ni watu tu wanataka walie wapate excuses za kukosa kufanya kazi. On the other hand, angalia watu wenye wanaongea good of the magnificent duo. They are calling them watchdogs. They are nothing else. They are watchdogs. Every Kenyan akona responsibility ya kuwa watchguard. You have a duty to make sure that you are implementing your constitution, because the constitution of Kenya, niseme hii na nisikuwe misquoted, is greater than any Bible. The constitution of Kenya is greater than any Quran you may think of or any religious book, because at the end of it all, Kenya is a no state religion. So hiyo constitution mwenye anaipigania na kuisimamia, huyo ni rafiki yetu. Huyu Gathongo ni rafiki yetu. Huyu Nyakano ni rafiki yetu. Sisi tunafaa tumprotect. Institutions zikishindwa kumprotect, tutatoka kwa hiyo barabara, tutawaprotectia huko hivyo. Until vitu zikuwe aligned hii nchi. 10 years from now, saizi tunalia tu hivi. Hawa hawatakuwa, sisi ndio tutakuwa. It's our future that will be messed. Sisi kama vijana. Can we please have a wake up call? Hatujawahi kuwa involved sana na mambo ya US funding. Now that tuko involved, can we use that as a wake up call? Tupate ways za kujisustain, tuache kutumia kuomba kila wakati. That's my ending ya leo, a parting shot.
It's also something that the opposition needs to consider, because if they keep seeing these things happening and they don't do anything about it, they will inherit a bankrupt government, a bankrupt where the health system is not working, the education system is not working. They need not just to say, acha tuwapatie 2 years. In 2 years, so many things can happen. Because for the last 2 years, we have had so many departments crippled, so many businesses shut down. So it's not up to them to say that let's just give them 2 years. After 2 years, we will have them. The damage that can be done in 2 years is so great that we may or may not recover from. Now that is on the newspaper review this morning. And I'm glad that Collins, you joined us this morning. Thank you so much for making time for us this morning. And Juang, also thank you so much for making time for us this morning. Just a quick feedback. We have Faith Njeri says, brilliant minds, keep up, young guys. You are our future. Very important. You guys are speaking of real issues that most of our leaders are afraid to speak of. And congratulations to, should I say all of us?
Sure.
All of us. Now that marks the end of KUTV Rise Today, Biashara Tuesday on this 11th of March 2024. I hope you keep interacting with us on our social media platforms, that is at KUTV News KUTV Kenya, and for our news coverage, that is at KUTV News Kenya. And also for if you're having events on culture, on business that you may want it to be showcased here on television on our show, make sure that you contact us on our website and on all our social media platforms. Trust we will respond to them, and we will be there to have the coverage, and it will be right on air right here on the show. And also don't forget to vote for Kenyatta University Biashara Tuesday as the best show of the year in the KUSA Awards, which we'll be celebrating on Friday this week. That marks the end of Biashara Tuesday this morning. See you next week.